प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः. Om. Dear friends, welcome to the study of Gita. We are seeing the 18th chapter. 18th chapter of the Gita, that is Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, that is the last chapter of the Gita. And there also we are coming almost to the end. And we were reading shloka number 56. That is Sarva Karmanyapi Sada Kurvano Madvyapashrayah Mad Prasadad Avapnoti Shashvatam Padam Aishwaram Avyayam. So that is what he said. So the context is Krishna is now talking about, he was talking about what is called Swabhavajam Karma. That is, every man is endowed with some gunas, Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna, etc. And depending on the combination of these gunas, you have our character is formed, our tendencies are formed. And then these tendencies, of course, they can be changed. When they changed, naturally our character changes. So if we do not change and if we just go according to the Swabhava, then again we will be in that same direction. So sometimes the Swabhava can be changed, because sometimes a person who is having Tamasa Guna, he may upgrade himself by virtue of, by practicing this qualities of Rajoguna or Sattva Guna, he will upgrade himself to this thing. But then he was talking, broadly speaking, a person is impelled by the Swabhava so long as he does not try to change himself. So that is what was the picture. And Krishna was also saying that in the society, in the social context, every person is assigned with some duty, and that duty has to be performed by that person. So that is what he was saying. And he also talked about Jnani. How does a Jnani do? Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi. In the earlier shloka, in one of the earlier shlokas, he was talking about a Jnani Bhakti. Jnani Bhakti is Jnanam. What is this Jnanam? Jnanam is knowing a thing as it is. Bhakti also means the same. Bhakti does not mean doing some bhajana and all that. Bhakti means knowing the tattvam, or knowing the reality about the Supreme as it is. Knowing the Supreme as it is what is called Bhakti. And once you know that, then your behavior also will be changed. Your behavior is totally in tune with that awareness. So that is what he said. And now Krishna is coming to the context of Arjuna. After all, we know that Krishna is giving a large picture of what a Jnani will do, what some other person will do, and what a Karma Yogi has to do. And from the point of view of Arjuna, Krishna is telling about what Karma Yogi has to do, because Arjuna is only fit for that Karma Yoga right now. He has not yet matured to the level of a Jnani. He might have heard about all that. Simply because I listen to philosophy, simply because I go to a teacher and do some Shravanam and whatnot, it does not mean that I am a Jnani, unless that internal transformation comes totally. So unless I remove all the negative tendencies, all these Sattva, including Sattva of course, all these Rajoguna, Tamoguna tendencies I have to totally eradicate. And even there are certain weaknesses born out of Sattva Guna. For example, a person, he may feel, oh, I am a great Sattvika, I am a great Dharmika, I am doing so many good deeds, etc., etc. Even that hubris, or rather spiritual pride, even that is an obstacle. That is also a demon. In our Puranas, even that hubris is shown as a demon. So even that we have to eradicate. So then only that we can be called a Jnani. So a Jnani is totally different. So Krishna gave a total picture of the entire spectrum. And now in that spectrum, what is the place of Arjuna? The place of Arjuna is that Karma Yoga. So he is coming to that in this 57th shloka. 56 we read yesterday, and 57 we have to read now. I will read. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yoga upashritya matchittas satatam bhava. So he is telling, matchittaha satatam bhava. You always be matchittaha. That is, you always keep me in mind. So that is it. You always keep me in mind. So then what else has to be done? Okay, we keep God in our minds, but then what are we supposed to do? Chetasa sarva karmani sanyasya. We have seen this word sannyasa has got two meanings. That is, one meaning is doing our karma with Ishwararpana buddhi. That is, my sanyasya is you renounce all actions in me. When that means renounce, what is that renunciation? Renunciation at the level of karma yoga, it means you are doing your karma, you are not renouncing the karma, you are doing your karma, but then you are giving up the result. I am doing it as per the order of the Lord, as per the cosmic scheme, as an instrument of the Lord. So our attitude is like that. And with that frame of mind, I am doing my work. And that is Mayi Sanyasya, Mayi Samarpya. That is, Karma Yogi is one who understands his role in the society and then performs his role in a proper way as an order from the Supreme. So, Mayi Sanyasya means that. And how can we do that? Chetasa Sarva Karmani. Chetasa. Chetas, we know Chetas is mind. Chetasa means Buddhya. Buddhya means by proper analysis, by proper understanding. Chetasa is by proper understanding. It is not simply that, okay, this is what I have to do and blindly I do. Not like that. I do understand. I do understand that there is a broad framework called dharma. There is a broad entity called society. And in that society, there is a role for everyone in order to perpetuate dharma, in order to preserve dharma. And I have to play my role properly. So that is the picture here. So Chetasa means by viveka, by proper analysis, by proper jnanam, by proper understanding. Mayi karmani sanyasya, that is having renounced all actions in me, that is renounced the fruit of action. So you are doing your work, you have not given up your work. The second meaning for sannyasa is total renunciation of actions, not at all doing anything, and then you are a sannyasi and then you are living by bhikshatanam. Arjuna wanted to do bhikshatanam. Whereas Krishna is saying, no, that type of sannyasa is not for you, you have to do another type of sannyasa. That is what we call Gauna Sannyasa. In the 6th chapter of the Gita, we saw that it is called a sort of sannyasa, Gauna Sannyasa, secondary sannyasa, not primary sannyasa. So, Mayi Sanyasya, Nitya Sarva Karmani. What does it mean? Sarva Karmani means all actions. And all actions means Krishna is not talking about the Kamya Karma. We know that there are different types of karmas. We know that there are Nishiddha karmas, that is prohibited activities. There are certain compulsory activities, that is mandated things, Nitya Karma. You are supposed to do some charity, you are supposed to do some Yajna, Dhanam, Tapasyaiva. So these things are compulsory, some type of good activity. Yajna means any type of good activity. And Dhanam, any type of charity. And even Yajna also, in that activity also there is a lot of Dhanam which is included. And Tapas is an act of self-purification. So all these things, they come under this Nitya Karma. That is, they come under what are called mandated duties. In addition to that, the Shastra also permits what is called Kamya Karma. That is, I want to be prosperous, I want to do this, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve that, etc., etc. So those things, they are not permitted for a Karma Yogi. They are permitted for an ordinary man. There is a difference between an ordinary man and a Karma Yogi. Ordinary man is one who says, okay, I want this, I want that prosperity, I want this achievement, etc. A Karma Yogi, he does his job very perfectly and then very efficiently. And then he doesn't aspire for personal prosperity. He doesn't aspire for personal achievements and richness and whatnot. So that is the point. So here we are not including the Kamya Karma, we are only including Nitya and Naimittika Karma. That is whatever is mandated. That is Sarva Karmani Mayi Sanyasya. Then Mat Paraha. Mat Paraha means considering Param, we know this word Param is supreme. Mat Para is considering me as the highest, considering me as the supreme. Me does not mean Lord Krishna only. Me, at an ordinary sense, it is Lord Krishna. But me, whenever Krishna is talking about me, he is talking about the higher entity, that is the supreme reality. So, Mat Paraha means understanding that whole cosmic scheme. Mat Paraha, that is understanding the whole cosmic scheme and understanding your role in that. Then Buddhi Yoga Upashritya. Then what is this Buddhi Yoga? Because Gita is full of such words which can be interpreted in different ways. So that is the reason why we have got interpretations from Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and each having his own type of approach. So what to take? So right now we are following what is called the non-dual philosophy, non-dual approach, that is the approach of Shankaracharya, where he does not stick to one particular God form. For example, if you take, say, the other Vishishtadvaita, there they talk about what is called Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, and then Vishnu. That supreme reality means you are fixing it as a person called Vishnu. And of course, Dvaita, dualist philosophy, they say only Vishnu. Then you are excluding all other forms and names. Advaita does not include all these things. Advaita it goes above all these forms and names. Advaita says the only one reality which has no name and form. And in that entity, what we call pure consciousness, you visualize any name. You visualize Vishnu, you visualize Shiva, you visualize this, that, etc. So Advaita is something which goes beyond these names and forms. It is not as though Advaita is politically right and then they are politically like accepting our politicians. They accept, no, we want these people, we are equal to these people, we are equal to these people, etc., etc. And not out of political considerations, but out of philosophical understanding. So right now we are following that particular approach, and that is the oldest approach. The oldest approach of the Upanishads is that only. So here Buddhi Yoga Upashritya. What is this Buddhi Yoga? Buddhi Yoga is siddhyos samo bhutva. That is whether you are getting the result for you or not. Here Arjuna, for example, we are coming to the concrete example of Arjuna. Arjuna is now, suppose his mandated duty is yuddha. That is in order to establish dharma. And while in the process of establishing dharma, even Arjuna may die. He may lose his friends. In fact, he has lost his friends, he has lost his relatives, he has lost his sons also. His sons also, they die. So whatever may be the consequences, siddhyos samo bhutva, whether you are achieving what you want, whether you are not achieving what you want, you please do your job. So that is what it is. That is samatva buddhi. Samatva buddhi means that equanimity of mind, whether you are getting the fruit or not, you are doing it as a matter of an order from the Lord. We'll just take a break and come back. Let us come back. Mat paraha means keeping me as the supreme. That is, keeping this cosmic scheme as the supreme thing. Not your own wishes, not your own personal wishes and ambitions. Mat paraha. Then buddhi yogam upashritya. That is samatva buddhi. Samatva buddhi is whether you are succeeding in this thing or not. You be equal to that. You consider it, you leave the fruit to the Lord. Samatva buddhi upashritya. Upashritya means adopting that particular policy. Mat chittaha satatam bhava. Mat chittaha. Mat chittaha means keep me always in mind. Mat chitta satatam bhava. Satatam means always. Bhava means to be. So here he is using two words called mat chittaha, mat paraha. So these two words, Shankaracharya had earlier also explained in one earlier shloka also. These two words they come. Mat chittaha, mat paraha. There Shankaracharya explained by giving a slightly an example, a very, very familiar example. For example, somebody is loving someone, he is loving a woman. So his mind is always on that woman. So Stri Chittaha, that is a person who is loving a woman, Stri Chittaha. But then he is not treating her as the supreme. He is treating his boss, or he is treating somebody, he is treating someone else as supreme. He is only having love for her. Mat Chittaha is having love. Mat Paraha means treating me as the supreme. So both are included here. So he says, Shankaracharya says, Kaschit Manushyaha Sri Chittaha Bhavati. Apitu Sri Parahana Bhavati. He may be Sri Chittaha, he may be thinking about a woman, but he is not considering her as the supreme thing. So like that. So Mat Chitta and Mat Para is both, you have to consider this cosmic scheme as the highest thing, and you have to keep that in mind, always keep that in mind and do your action. So he is now telling about Karma Yoga in this shloka and also next few shlokas very, very clearly in the context of Arjuna. Then, because Gita, it is not as though Gita is only telling the highest philosophy. Gita has to tell philosophy, there is no doubt. But it should also reconcile the ambitions of the common man. It should also reconcile the active life of a man, and it also has to reconcile the needs of the society. It has to reconcile all the needs of the society. So it is taking into account right from an ordinary person who is doing kamya karma, It is asking a person to grow to the level of Karma Yoga, and from Karma Yoga it is showing a better picture. That is the next Jnana Yoga. But right now our position is this Karma Yoga. So that is what we see here. Then 58 also continues like that. 58 I will read. Machittas sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi atachetvam ahankarat na shroshyasi vinanksyasi. Machittaha. Machittaha means, one may then ordinarily it means machittaha, okay, keeping me in mind. Machittaha is basically having what is this cosmic picture in mind. That is Jnana Nishta. Also it includes Jnana Nishta also. Earlier we saw what is called Jnana Nishta, means in that awareness, being in that awareness of the ultimate reality, and also being in the awareness of that cosmic scheme of the good and bad. So we have to understand that scheme. Then Machittaha Sarva Durgani Mat Prasadat Tarishyasi. Durgam. We know what is this Durgam? We know this Durga Devi. Durga means Dukkhena Gantum Yogyam is Durgam. The meaning of Durgam is Dukkhena Gantum. Duhu Ga. Ga means to go. English, Sanskrit root Gam means to go. That is English and Sanskrit, they are cognate words. Then Durga means very difficult to cross over, very difficult to go. Durgani here means different types of anxieties. Sarva Durgani does not mean physical battles. He is not talking about the physical battle in which he is going to conquer, he is going to win over Kauravas. He is now talking about the anxieties, all types of anxieties, because anxiety is the basic problem. Arjuna, in the case of Arjuna, he is suddenly at the time of crisis, he becomes feeble. So that sort of problem, Sarva Durgani. So here commentary also says, Adhyatmika Adhibhautika Adini. Adhyatmika Adhibhautika means Adhyatmika, something which is internal. What is that internal thing? So due to wrong understanding. Due to wrong understanding, he has certain ethical dilemmas. What I am doing, is it right or not? Is it right or wrong? And I prefer not to do. I prefer not to do this. Not to go ahead with this war. I will take up this bhikshatanam. I will do sannyasa, and I will live by begging. So that sort of ethical doubt he is having. So Krishna is saying, Sarva Durgani Mat Prasada Tarishyasi. Tarishyasi means you will cross over. Tarati. Tarati means cross over, crosses over. A person Saha Tarati. Vedanta says, a person who knows, who has the knowledge of self, he crosses over sorrow. He goes beyond sorrow. That means a person with right understanding does not have sorrow. In fact, Swami Tattvavidananda says, Dukkham nama prajnaparadha eva. Dukkham is sorrow. Shokam, same as shokam. Dukkham nama prajnaparadha. Prajnaparadha means wrong understanding, basically. Suppose some sort of klesha, some sort of problem with the mind. So that goes only by proper understanding, proper analysis, whether that particular dukkha is due to some very, very ephemeral, very, very temporal thing. So by understanding the totally ephemeral nature of sorrow, a person crosses over. When a person has this Atmajnana, Atmajnana is something in which you are identifying, you are losing your limited entity, you are losing your limited identity and identifying with a bigger identity, that is bigger thing called Brahman. So at that level, there is no sorrow, there is no want, there is no enemy, there is no friend, there is no enemy, there is no personal greed or anything like that. So at that time, there is nothing called klesha. So that is what he says, Sarva Durgani Mat Prasadat. Mat Prasadat means by my grace. What is this grace? This grace is properly understanding, that's all. God's grace is, if I can attain that Atmajnana, that is grace, that is the grace. In fact, for attaining Atmajnana, different types of grace are mentioned in the Shastras. One is, for example, Guru Prasada. The teacher has to be benevolent, and he has to openly speak to you, and then he should not hide anything from you, he should love you, and then his prasada has to be there. Similarly, Atma Prasada, that is our own self has to become pure. If the self is not pure, however much the Guru says, it does not sink in my mind. If my self is pure, then what the Guru says sinks into my mind. So that is Atma Prasada. Then Daiva Prasada. Daiva Prasada is that God's grace also has to be there. Then fourth one they say is Shastra Prasada. Shastra. The Shastra also has to, it has to light up in our mind, because the Shastra, it should sink into our mind. We should not think that, we should not find that the Shastra is so tough and whatnot. It has to sink into our mind and it has to reveal itself. The Shastra has to reveal itself. So these four types of prasadas are mentioned. So here he says, Mat prasada tarishyasi, by my grace, you will cross over. You will cross over all these durgani, all your mental worries and whatnot, and also ethical dilemmas, not worries, dilemmas. Then athachet tvam ahankarat na shroshyasi. Athachet, if in case tvam, you, ahankarat, because of ahankara. Ahankara does not mean arrogance, because we know that Arjuna is not a man with arrogance. Ahankara is, okay, I know what is my dharma. I know, I am very clear about what is dharma, what is not dharma, etc. That is ahankara. I have some idea. Pandityabhimanat, commentary also says, Pandityabhimanat. Pandityam is, yes, I know, many people are there who just do not want to listen to any suggestion from anybody. So they say, okay, I know everything. So like that, ahankarat na shroshyasi, in case you do not listen. Na shroshyasi, shrunoshi is present tense, shroshyasi is future tense. Future tense is shroshyasi. Na shroshyasi means, in case if you do not listen. Na shroshyasi, then vinangshyasi, this also is in future tense, you will perish. Vinashyasi, that is nashyasi. Vinangshyasi is, that is future tense, that is you will perish in case you do not listen to me. In fact, one commentator says, nayena bhayena, that is one commentator named Shankarananda comments, nayena bhayena. In Telugu also we say, nayana bhayana we say. Nayana bhayana actually is Sanskrit word, nayena, bhayena. Naya means trying to explain logically. Okay, this is what is the picture, and then you have to see, this is the way you have to, you see the facts. Bhayena means, no, if you do not do, you are going to lose. So, threatening. So, you nayena, bhayena. So, he is telling, athachetvam ahankarat na shroshyasi. In case you think that you know everything and then you do not listen to me, then you will perish. In what sense? In what sense, in what way you will fail? You will fail to attain the Purushartha. Purushartha means whatever are the human goals. What are the human goals? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha are the human goals. But here, Arjuna's Purushartha is Dharma. That is, Dharma is he has to fight and then he has to establish Dharma. And in case you do not do that, in case you do not listen to me, you are not going to achieve Purushartha. And you may take up sannyasa, but you are failing in your Swadharma. You are failing in your Swadharma. So, in fact, Arjuna even earlier, I don't know whether I told this earlier, Arjuna even earlier, he becomes feeble-minded. For example, before the war commences, that is immediately after the Virata Parva, then we have what is called Udyoga Parva. And in that Udyoga Parva, in the very beginning, what happens? Udyoga means effort. Both the Pandavas and Kauravas, they prepare their armies and get ready for the battle. That is Udyoga. Udyoga means getting ready. That is effort, making effort. And during that, they go to various people, they contact various allies, and then some allies and access partners or whatever it is. I forget those names. But anyway, this one block and then the other block. So that way they collect armies. So at that time, then Pandavas, they send a messenger to Dhritarashtra. And then they do not listen to that messenger. And on the other hand, Dhritarashtra sends another messenger to the Pandavas. In fact, that is what is called a Sanjaya Rayabaram. There is a message, in fact, the narrator here is Sanjaya. Sanjaya is a wise person. But then Dhritarashtra sends a message. And then Sanjaya, being a messenger, he has to convey what all Dhritarashtra has to tell. Suppose I tell, this is my message, you go and convey. My messenger has to convey as I say. So that is what Sanjaya does. So what is the message? Dhritarashtra tells them, okay, you have been in the forest for a long time. I know that you have suffered. But then you are very great warriors. Who can face Bhima among us? Nobody can face Bhima. And Bhima, in case with all his anger he comes and falls, all my sons will die. Then Arjuna, who can face Arjuna? No one can face Arjuna. Arjuna, in fact, he has attained Pashupatastra. Arjuna has attained all the Divyastras from all the gods. And Arjuna is somebody who was also sitting in the Devaloka on at equal level with Devendra. In the same chair he was sitting. Simhasanam, same Ardha Simhasanam we say. That is, Arjuna was also sitting just beside him on the same throne. So such a great man, if he comes for battle, who can face Arjuna? And you yourself, you are known as Dharmatma. The message is addressed to Yudhishthira. You are a very great Dharmatma. And you, if you come for battle, all of us are going to die. And by killing all of us, you will get a very bad name. All these years, you have got a great reputation. You have got a great reputation that you are a Dharmatma. But if you wage war on us, and then if you are going to kill all of us, then you will get a very, very bad name. Then why don't you keep quiet? Why don't you live like that only? You are very happy. You are staying there. You are very happy. I bless you. You be like that. So this is something, this is a very, very crooked message. Very, very crooked message by Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is actually appealing to the so-called ego, Sattvika ego of Dhritarashtra, Dharmaraja. So he is just telling Dharmaraja, oh, you are such a good man. If you are going to kill me, what can we do? You will get a bad name. Then Dharmaraja is somebody who will not fall for this particular trick. That is a sort of psychological operation by Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is a blind fellow, but still he does a lot of psychological operations, what we call psyops now. So this psychological operation, Bhima becomes sentimental, Arjuna becomes sentimental. Bhima says, yes, what Dhritarashtra says is true, and then if we are going to kill all these people, then what will happen? I am going to killing all these Kauravas, why should I do? Arjuna also becomes sentimental. At that time, it is Yudhishthira who doesn't feel sentimental. Yudhishthira is very clear. Yudhishthira is very clear about dharma. Yudhishthira tells, no, what all you say is okay, but then at least let them give 5 villages to us, 5 towns to us, so that, of course, Yudhishthira knows that Duryodhana will not even give 5 towns. So he, instead of totally rejecting Sanjaya, Yudhishthira says, at least let them give 5 towns. So Yudhishthira is one man. The name given to Yudhishthira is Yudhishthira. That is very firm in battle. That means not physical battle. He may not be a great warrior in battle, but then in the psychological war, he is very strong. So Yudhishthira is strong in that psychological war. So that is why we call him Yudhishthira. So here, ahankaram ashritya. If you are going to adopt sannyasa, then you are going to lose purushartha. A very great advice to Arjuna. We will continue tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.